What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Litecast on the CF After Dark Network. I am Austin Keeney. I'm joined by Matt Nelson. Hope everybody enjoyed our new music to get this thing going. Matt, you said you had camera issues before, but thankfully we're good now. How you doing, man? How's
Yeah, I
welcome to
know
the Big
the
12? I guess this is technically the Big 12 tournament has started, but this is Big 12 tournament eve for Iowa State fans.
it is, and a lot of excitement. Bit of a holiday starting tomorrow in the annual trek to Kansas City. Big 12 fans love this week. Iowa State fans especially love this week. So, man, really happy that it's March. Happy that we have reached postseason play, the conference tournaments. Which Keeney, I know you're going to want to talk about that. How you feel about this week compared to next week with the first round of the big tournament, but. Yeah, man, we're excited. Kind
Right
of
now,
new
what
for
I'm
this year. Iowa State playing Wednesday morning, so we'll talk about that for sure. But I think there are some people headed down probably tomorrow, others Thursday if all goes well. So it'll be kind of a new setup, but should be a great week.
Speaking of conference tournaments, you didn't tell me to take overs before the night started, so I took a bunch of unders, and it looks like it's going to be a
Yeah.
not good gambling night for me. But all right,
Terrible assist by your podcast host here. That's my fault.
let's go back in time real quick before we hit on all this stuff because Matt, you were in the house on Saturday for Senior Day in Ames with Tame and Lipsy. Can you talk about your experience there as a fan, how the whole thing went? Obviously, Iowa State won the game comfortably, had the big run in the
Right.
second half, but just what was the how was the feeling in the arena? What was it like before and after the game?
Yeah, I think the one thing I noticed prior was just how early everyone was in their seats. I say this, Austin, as someone who only lives a few blocks away, but seemingly somehow always manages to be about 5 minutes late.
Well,
Um,
that happens when you have kids.
probably the nature of having kids, right? But we were there plenty of time to spare, probably 20 plus minutes early, and it was full. People did the striped thing really well, so props to them. Shout out to my neighbors, Michael and Jacob, who were told by their brother to wear the wrong color, so they were like the only 5 people wearing gold in their red section, which we gave them crap about it
For
the
Iowa
the
State
entire
fans though,
time.
that's really good.
It was
We're
impressive.
normally not great at those.
There were whole sections that actually got it right. So it was really cool. A really big cheer for Nate Heisey, and I think that speaks to, when you look at his stats, he's not someone that you would expect Iowa State fans to be that loud, that excited for. But the defense, some of the big shots he's hit, just I think he's really kind of made himself indispensable to this team. I mean, heck, he's playing 25 minutes a night. And his defense, his rebounding, the way he can pass has just become really integral here. So it was cool to hear that. Jefferson obviously got a nice hand, but the day was primarily about Tame and Lipsy, and they introduced him last. A really loud cheer, a lot of emotion. There were definitely tears. I know with my wife and a lot of people around that I saw, which I think just speaks to how much he's meant to this program, and I think goes down only having ever lost. Is it 5 games in Hilton? Maybe 6. I think 6 is the number that I saw, which is incredibly impressive over over that tournament. Gosh, I see the first. There it is. The first.
There we go.
We're
First
5 minutes.
responder with the
We're
Dom
five
Nelson
minutes in.
comment.
He is literally the first responder. Wow. Okay, now the seal's broken. You got to pay to get that one up there next, Keeney. Okay, let's make sure we enforce that here. But no, really cool moment. I was really blown away by kind of after the game. He's late in that game, the crowd chanted, "We want Taman." It was about 4 minutes left. TJ did a nice job of pulling all the seniors out with about 2 minutes left and got them a chance to kind of have their sub out and kind of a curtain call, I guess, so to speak. And then afterwards, just a ton of people stuck around. They talked to him post game. Everyone cheered for him. A big chunk of the student section stuck around. They wanted high fives from him, and you could tell that he soaked it all in, and that the crowd was appreciative. So sometimes the senior days, Keeney, there's really not a ton of people there. They do it before, and the arena still maybe half full. So this is one of the first ones I can remember where it was packed, and rightfully so for Nate, for Taman, for Joshua, but all Mulder and Dom as well. We've already got a Dom Nelson comment, Keeney, in the feed. So
The Dom
clearly we
appreciators are
got to
here.
give the
We
people
like
more of
that.
what.
We love it.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, with that, right, since Big 12 announcements came out, any Any thoughts on those? I don't know, Keeney, if you have the powers at your fingers to pull up that list, but you had Taman on the all defensive team again. I believe one of the few players who's made that 3 times in their career. Also is the Scholar Athlete of the Year for the league, which is really cool. You had Joshua make the first team All Big 12. No surprise there. And I believe it was Taman and Momcilovic both on the second team. Keeney, did I miss anybody? I'm pretty sure those are all the accolades I remembered seeing.
For Iowa State awards, you mean?
Correct. Yeah.
I was trying to get the second screen up so I can put stuff up, and it's just I'm not touching technology tonight. We got old equipment we're working with, so we're just going to roll with it. We can talk about the awards themselves because I think a lot of people had strong opinions about that. Maybe before I get too far ahead of ourselves, though, let's maybe we should do a 6-pack. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, Matt. I mean, we're talking about Senior Day. Maybe you got one there that you want to lead off with.
Not a senior. I'm actually going to lead off with Dom Plata. It's kind of tying a bow on the game we watched here against Arizona State on Saturday. Had just a really terrific game. Very efficient, made his free throws, rebounded well. I thought was very strong with the ball, got a few steals. A really nice complimentary game. Buchanan played well, also missed a few bunnies though, probably 3 layups he should make. And Plata gave you really, really nice minutes. And I think he's going to be big coming up here the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to start with Big Schnitzel.
All right. I'm going to go with I'll go AG DeBonsa because I think we had some highway robbery with Big 12 player of the year.
Boy, did we ever. He responded with what, a 40 burger tonight in the
Big 12 tournament? He was unbelievable against Kansas State, which, it is what it is. But you know what? I got to shout out DeBonsa because he was the best player in the Big 12 this year.
Not even close.
I can maybe understand if you don't want to give player of the year to the guy whose team finished like 10th, but I mean, he was the best player. And instead we're giving the award to, the quote unquote leader of the best team. Jaden Bradley's a great player, but I think AJ was definitely deserving of the award.
Yeah, I don't know how you give it to him in the face of DeBonsa, right? Like he's literally played like every minute of every game. Jaron Peterson hasn't. His numbers are so much better. This feels like because BYU struggled down the stretch, DeBonsa got penalized for it. And that doesn't seem fair. And Bradley's numbers just don't really deserve this award. Like as a leader, yes. Best player on best team, yes. I get it, right? I do. Trust me.
He was like 30th in the conference in scoring or something. Like it just
doesn't make any sense.
You kind of feel bad for Jaden Bradley too, because the only conversation about this is going to be, wow, he didn't deserve the award, and
because he didn't. And it's not his fault. I mean, the pushing off, the forearm shivers that he does 14 times a game against opponents, that is his fault. But there you go. Not winning this award.
Let's see if we can have a rematch on Friday.
Yeah, someone clip that. Yeah, I managed to Jerome tag myself.
I'll go number 3 here on our 6-pack though. I'm gonna go Audie Crooks because I would recommend if anybody hasn't watched it yet, the Sports Center feature on her that they did on Sunday was awesome. So shout out to Audie. Thought that was really cool. Thought it was cool for ESPN to go ahead and highlight her story as well. And Matt,
okay, I'm going to give a skunked beer as the next part of this to the Big 12 for picking 10 people on the first team. What are we doing? Come on, man. Get out of here with that. Like when you do that, you end up with Baba Miller on the second team. No offense to Baba Miller. He's a nice player. What are we doing? Come on, man. Come on. I know you got 47 teams in this league, but 10 players? Like Krivas really deserved to be on the first team? Really? I know he can make his free throws and hit a 3 occasionally, and he's big, but again, come on, man. What are we doing? Not a fan of this. I'm just not.
All right. We got 2 more, Matt. You want to give number 5 out here?
Yeah, sorry for that rant.
Skunk beers are beers, so
yeah, they count. Someone's got to drink them. That's right. J.R. Blount gets the last one.
Okay. It's a good call.
Kind of a surprise in the timing, and it does sound like that JR is going to coach out the rest of the season. If you did not hear the news, he will be the new coach at San Diego. Keeney, I believe that is UC San Diego, and I want to say a little trivia time, stealing that bit from Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander. Mascot wise, we did this last week. I believe they are the Tritons. Is that right?
Can
you confirm?
It's the University. I know this is.
Oh, it's the
like,
University of San
yeah, it's
Diego.
not UC San Diego. It's just the
Oh,
University of San Diego, right? Which are both Division I schools that are different schools. But San
quite honestly,
Diego,
I didn't even know those existed.
the Toreros, which is a very cool mascot, and apparently just like a beautiful
The
campus, and
Toreros.
they got a brand new facility. Like I saw the news, and I'm like,
So
okay,
that's the
yep,
University of San Diego is different than the University of California, San Diego. It's
exactly.
too
No,
much.
so I figured it was only a matter of time before JR got a head coaching job. I was a little surprised. I thought it might be something a little bit more high profile than USD, but then
Okay.
see people talking about it. It's like, oh no, by the way, here's pictures of their campus. Here's their brand new practice facility. They're stepping up, they're putting money into the
Yeah.
program. So it might be the great thing, a great spot for a young guy to step into his
I'm
first
gonna
head coaching job.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I was right. UC San Diego is the Tritons, but also laugh at myself for not knowing that San Diego is actually a different college. So that's kind of a win and a loss. Win some, you lose some, Keeney. It's a make or miss league.
All right. Number 6 is going to, there we go. Yeah, down to Carlisle. So talked about this a little bit last
Oh,
week, but girls basketball team won the state championship. Very cool. Macy Comito is your Iowa State connection. She's a women's basketball recruit. She was most outstanding player of the tournament. A lot of fun going to the game on Saturday, getting to watch that. So I did have to miss part of Iowa State, Arizona State, but you only get to see your hometown win a championship so many times. And I did see Bill
yep.
Fenley in the concourse at the KC Center as I was walking out. I didn't say anything to him, but he was there. He was watching. So really cool day for the town. So to shout out for that.
Did you get
Matt,
Fizz to celebrate? Did you get
I did
Fizz to celebrate?
not. No, I don't live in Carlisle. I live close to Carlisle, but
Not a sponsor. Could be.
let's hit a couple comments here. So first responder jumping in here said that we're gonna have a new women's team that begins play in 2027. I didn't see this. I don't believe there's an announcement, but it's gonna be girls wrestling, isn't it? Women's wrestling. I'm like 99% sure that's what it's gonna be.
I'm agreed. Very, 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 very easy guess, right? With as big as wrestling is in the sport, in the state of Iowa, with the way that the men's program has really elevated, yeah, that seems like a no brainer.
It's also a program that I think you can get up and running in pretty short order. We should probably shout out the wrestlers too. I've seen a lot of news about like guys making nationals.
And I did. They got, I think, like 7 or 8 that made nationals. A few that bowed out early in the Big 12s with injuries that hurt their chance to beat Oklahoma State. You had Younger Bastido win at heavyweight, Rocky Elam win at his weight class as well. So both of those guys will have a shot to win nationals. I think Younger may be the favorite, or will be close to it. Elam could get there, but Echmadia wrestled well. The injuries were unfortunate, but I want to say it was either last year or 2 years ago. They had a really rotten showing at Big 12s, like bad. So this was much better on a big stage. They wrestled well. Connor Uten had a really nice tournament. So yeah, excited to see how many guys they've got going to Cleveland, if they can make some more noise there. And I mean, gosh, like a top 5 finish would be great, right? Keep trying to creep your way up that sport. All 10 guys going to Cleveland. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, I want to give Nick a shout out and pop this one up here.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Nick.
This is just a really nice sicko comment that for some reason Nick knows about the history of UC San Diego, and I hope you didn't Google that. I hope you just knew that, because that's incredible. I didn't even know San Diego University existed, let alone on this. A couple comments in here about some players we wanted to probably get to, right? Kind of in.
We got to shout out Steve Kemp,
yeah,
who I'm sure is going to be in Kansas City. If not already, he'll probably be there tomorrow, or I don't know. It won't take long. Hoping Milan got plenty of votes for Offensive Player of the Year in the Big 12. Did they give a specific Offensive Player of the Year award?
I don't know if they did. They did give a depoy, which was Flory Badunga.
Which makes a lot of sense. If we're putting 10 guys on the first team, then Milan's a bit of a snub for the first team then, right?
Did they do a DNP toy? Did not play. No.
Yeah, I think Darren Peterson won DNPOY. Yeah.
Did not play of the year. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Did not player of the year. I like that. That's a good one.
Look, we're biased for Iowa State fans, but like the guy had the best shooting season in pretty much the history of high major basketball, and he didn't make first team all conference. I don't know. It's a bit of a head scratcher.
They didn't do offensive player of the year. They do defense. Christian Anderson won most improved, which I think is deserved. He had a really nice season. Um,
It's hard when you've got 16 teams and 1 million players in the conference. Like, look, Milan doesn't need the hardware to prove how good a year he had, but like
right.
he had an awesome year and he got a second team all conference nod. And the Big
I
12
mean,
as a whole might not remember it as well if he's
the
not
worst part
named
about
in
with
these
as
awards.
big of a team this is, right? Getting second team, that means in theoretically they're saying he's like the 15th best player in the league. That might be true, but I have a hard time believing that. Don played a question here from Stevie Kemp, not Chucky Kemp. Yeah, I mean, he's been really, really consistent. I actually think the step up role, and I'm anxious to unpack this with you, Keen Dog, as we get down the stretch here in this show. But we've all been talking about it. Could it be Plata or Bateman who kind of drives this team? What if it's somebody who has done this role all season? Like, are we sure we won't see a 10-point game from Killian Torrey in this tournament and more steals? Are we sure we won't see another 4 3-point game from Nate Heisey, right? Like, it has been a little bit since we've seen it, but yes, Bateman and Plata have contributed a lot more, but all it takes for this team to go thermonuclear on somebody is for Torrey and Heisey to start scoring 6 to 8 points themselves again. And it's been a minute since we've seen that, right? So that's just something I want to talk about. Steve, I do think Plata has already kind of started to do that, but again, I'd say you can throw Buchanan in there as well. He has kind of had a few just okay games, and he's played a lot better than that and can.
How are you defining, quote unquote, stepping up? Is it scoring 10 points off the bench, or is it just, being able to play 25 minutes of like really good defense?
No, I think it's that it's probably that being able to
we
do a
do
little bit
need
of both defense and score. Remember Taylor Horton Tucker, that random tournament they won? He basically single-handedly won the Baylor game, and he had played like crap for the back half of that season. And all of a sudden he jumps up and scores 25 points. You got a Daryl Bowie game in a Big 12 tournament years ago. I want to say Bowie scored like 14 points.
Yeah, that was a
against
weird
West
one.
Virginia.
He had just had like and ones, like
just went
he had like
ham.
5
That's
and
right.
ones in one half. It was crazy.
I believe that was the game where Deontay Burton baptized a guy live on the court in Kansas City.
There you go. Thank you, Steve. Just making more plays than you'd expect.
Yeah, that's a great way to. Yeah,
if I, and I don't mean this in like a negative way. Plata, I'm not expecting a ton of production from him.
No, I will.
If he chips in 8 points in 20 minutes and gives you 4 good fouls and plays good defense, then yeah, absolutely.
I have a hunch here, Keeney, and I really think it's Killian Torrey. I do.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know that he can continue to airball threes like this, and he's got to shoot if he's left wide open, right? And if I'm them right now, I'm just in the gym with him shooting. Just say, hey, like you can put the ball in the hoop, and if not threes, Keeney, like we've seen, he can hit the mid-range jump shot. He did. He's done that several times in the last few games. He's a reliable free throw shooter. Like maybe it's him, and what we saw his first pick 6 in quite a while on Saturday. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's him jumping back up to. Can you imagine take any of the last 3 or 4 games and say, I tell you, Torrey scores 12 to 14 points. How do you feel about those games? Right, you're jacked. You're like, oh my gosh, like that is a huge contribution.
It'd be fantastic. Yeah, we kind of need, like, you kind of assume that 2 out of 3 of Jefferson, Milan, and Taman are going to play well. If all 3 play well, you're probably going to win. But
right,
if you don't get A games out of all 3 of them, you need somebody to step up there.
And Bateman has really picked up the drop in production from Torrey, right? If you think
Bateman would be the guy I'm looking at, and it's the obvious one, but he's also coming off the bench as the guy who's in there to just basically play with his hair on fire while he's out there. And he's made himself into a great defensive player, but he's also has the offensive ceiling that could really elevate this team.
Yeah, I think that's a smart one. I'm on board with that. I think him going to the rim the way he has, making defense hustle plays, like he's pretty obvious one for sure. But I don't know. It feels like in the Big 12 tournament, a lot of times you've had guys step up, and it's kind of come from unexpected places. So
it'd be a great place for Torrey. So I think for him, it's when he shoots his first jump shot, what does it look like? If he makes it, then yeah, you're probably getting a good game out of Torrey. I feel like he's just got to find a way to play with confidence at the start of the game, and making a couple positive plays on the offensive end is what's gonna I guess get him going and make him one of those guys.
Agreed. And I'm hopeful that we'll see kind of a nice bounce back from him, right? They need him again. Just get to 8 points, Killian, because I think Bateman is gonna, at this point, he's delivering you 8 to 10, no problem, right? And I'm gonna knock. I just knocked on wood on my desk, Keeney, because as soon as I say that, he's gonna miss a bunch of shots. So he's not going to. He's gonna score. That's what he does. He shoots with confidence. He can get to the rim, and Bateman's gonna continue to be valuable, but they do need Torrey to play a little bit better if they're gonna hit their ceiling. So there's no question about that. And this isn't even that Bateman has exceeded expectations. We knew he was good. The coaching staff was high on him coming into the season. Torrey owned a lot of those minutes early because he played so well, right? Like I saw someone in the chat talk about the players there. Like you didn't really need to see Bateman on the floor because Torrey was dominant. And as people have gotten more tape, his shooting has maybe lost confidence, right? You've seen Bateman produce more. But yeah, that's a really good question, right? Like at the tournament, you're going to need someone in March to kind of jump up and give you those surprise performances. Heck, Cade Kelderman made a 3 against Lipscomb last year. How about that? That's great stuff. Okay, let's get to the bracket.
Questions about, and we're kind of going free flowing here, but yeah, let's take a look at the bracket and let's talk about the Big 12 tournament a little bit.
Let's do it.
So obviously, Iowa State gets the Arizona State team that they just beat on Saturday. They get to play them again in this 5-12 game early tomorrow. Do you think that is? I mean, Arizona State did beat Baylor today, and I mean their offense looked pretty good. But
yeah,
how are you feeling about having the immediate rematch against the team with the coach that's going for the dead cat bounce and the program? They don't really have anything to lose going into this game.
They don't. I'm really hoping that this was the big emotional outburst from them. But even if it doesn't, right? Like I don't think it matters. They're pretty far removed from any sort of tournament conversation. And Keeney, I put it in the group chat, the CF After Dark group chat. But believe it or not, the stats from this game were kind of bizarre. So they won this game. Hold on one second. I put up the chat. So
too many messages in there today.
There's way too many today. Yeah, no joke. So Baylor out rebounded Arizona State, out assisted them, committed fewer turnovers, made the same number of free throws, and shot a higher percentage. I want to say Arizona State was in the 50s and Baylor was in the upper 70s, and lost. That is really hard to do.
So what you're telling me is that Arizona State, you don't want to say they got lucky, but they didn't play very well and they managed to win.
And it was honestly kind of similar to what happened Saturday. Baylor got themselves in a hole early. I think Arizona State at one point was up 14 or 15 points at the under 10 mark of the first half. And I think they were up 8 or 9 at half. They did manage to close, but Baylor's effort in the first half, I watched most of the first half, missed most of the second, was very uninspired. But that's just an odd box score that you don't see often. So in terms of the rematch, right, you just beat a team on your home court by 20. They gave you a game for a half, and then you just hammered them, right? And I think you've got to feel confident knowing that you can do that. That you just did that, right? You just achieved a pretty dominant win. So I was trying to figure out like what's going on with this Arizona State team, and I went in and pulled some numbers from our stats and info department. How about this? You ready?
The Litecast stats and info department.
I know you didn't expect.
It's been a while since we've broken them out. They've been they've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for something to do. What do you got for us, Matt?
Well, so they're an interesting team. They really only have 2 good wins on the season over Texas Tech and over Kansas. The Kansas one coming very recently. Do you consider Oklahoma good in the non-conference? Like Oklahoma is very bubbly.
Joe Lenardi might consider them good because we got to get 35 SEC teams in the tournament.
So I went and pulled. I wanted to look at 2 stats, Keeney, for their wins and losses. So I pulled key losses, key wins. Iowa State generally does well, Keen Dog, when we rebound well. And what's the other thing we need to do? We need to force turnovers.
Right? Turnovers. You prompted me here. Yeah.
I'm
Turnovers,
prompting
please.
you. We're quizzing you, right? So, and I listened to their post game today, and Hurley said, someone asked him about the rematch with Iowa State, and he said, they forced a lot of turnovers, which is uncharacteristic for us. And he's right. Their turnover percentage is actually pretty low. It's like 11.5 on the season. So I looked at some of their key wins, right? Beating Oklahoma, Tech, Kansas, Baylor, Okie State, and Utah. Trying to look at those two areas specifically to see if I could find a common thread. And in general, they averaged about 11 turnovers in those games. Their lowest was 5. Their highest was 15. The two big wins, Tech and KU, about 9 to 13 turnovers. So took care of the ball. But in general, we're out rebounded in all those games. Against Kansas, they were out rebounded by 12 and still won that game. The only game where they actually rebounded well was against Oklahoma State, a team that I think we actually did well on the boards against. So in general, even in those wins, Keeney still lost the rebounding margin by about 2. That again, I just pulled a subset of, what's that? 6 wins. Looked at a little bit more on the loss side, right? So UCLA, BYU, they lost to Arizona twice, and Houston. A couple of those games were 10 to 20 point games. Lost to TCU, lost to Iowa State, right? So those losses, Keeney averaged almost 5 more turnovers per game, close to 15, and got crushed on the glass. Did not win any of those games on the boards. The best they did was pushed with UCLA, had the same number of rebounds. So on average, we're out rebounded by almost 6 in those games. If you're wondering what happened against Iowa State, 23 turnovers, and we're out rebounded by 3. So I think this is getting at really 2 things for me, right? And I know this is just a subset. They're not great on the glass, which that is one thing that Keeney, it's why we lost to Cincinnati. If we struggle on the boards, it's tough for this team. They should rebound well. Torres got size. Heisey's a good rebounder. Momcilovic has gotten much better at it. And then I think Jefferson and Buchanan are both above average rebounders. And even Plata has had moments. So it's not that Iowa State is poor at rebounding, but I think that's kind of, an effort. I'm not sure how that stat shows up. But when Iowa State rebounds well, in general, we win. So I think
Arizona State's team, they're not going to be a team that just pummels you with size. They're not going to overwhelm us with their front line. Not
more
like,
perimeter
like
play
Arizona
and trying to drive to the hoop, right? And I think that's why we had so much success against them in Hilton. The other thing that tells me, they're pretty low turnover numbers, right? Like 11.5 Keeney is a super respectable number. That's a really good spot to be from a turnover perspective. I actually went ahead and charted. So Iowa State's number on the year is less than 10. And Kenny, I went back and looked at through this losing streak, whatever you call it, right? The last 6 games. I think we've only had 1 game with more than 10 turnovers. Some of those games were 5, several 9s, several 7s. The Tech game, right, where we did not shoot well at home, Keeney. It's going to be hard to believe, but I think we only turned it over 5 times in that game. Did not turn the ball over. So I know it feels like some Jefferson turnovers, things that hurt us. Honestly, this team is not turning the ball over. Iowa State is not. So if you think about ways you can lose a game, right? Like turnovers, which we don't turn the ball over much. Also, they're not great at forcing them. They're in the 60s for turnover rate, Keeney, so pretty low. That's a respectable, I guess. Tech is like 320th. Illinois is like dead last for comparison, but okay at forcing turnovers. But again, in general, we take care of the ball well. Rebounding, again, I think we're going to have an edge there. So I think some of what has cost Iowa State here really is one, Tech going nuclear, and then a couple of those games, Keeney, we just didn't shoot well. And I did. So I kind of looked at one last thing, right, which was shooting percentages. And in general, Iowa State this year was like 48, almost 49% from the floor, almost 5 percentage points higher than Arizona State. And they're over 4% higher from 3. We're 38. They're 34. 34 is fine. If you go and look at a lot of their games, they shoot, there's a lot of 30% in there. Very rarely do you see them jump up and shoot 50. I think they've really kind of been very average from beyond the arc in Big 12 play. So in general, like they're ranked in I think, Keeney, if you look at KenPom in the 60s or 70s for both, this is the kind of team that Iowa State just pummels. If you're not really great at anything, if you don't have size, if you don't have crazy, nasty 3-point shooting, if you're just okay, Keeney, I'm sorry, just our track record is that Iowa State really does well against those teams. And that's kind of why I think this matchup is favorable for Iowa State. You just put good tape on them. what I'm getting at also, Keeney, is we won by forcing 23 turnovers, but how many turnovers did they have in those losses that I read off? Their average was 14. You don't have to force 23 turnovers to win. We did not win that game because we forced 23 turnovers. You can beat them with them only turning it over 12 times, 14 times. I think that's because they don't have a lot of size and they're not elite shooting. So this is a game Iowa State should win by 8, 9, 10. I don't think it'll be the result that you saw in Hilton. It'll certainly probably be a little bit more back and forth, but this is just a team Iowa State has advantages on pretty much up and down when you look at the stats. How's that? How's that for an in-depth stats and information session right there?
I'm going to go ahead and talk to Levi about getting the stats and info department a raise. That was very good.
How about that?
Speaking,
is that helpful, Keeney? Does that help explain anything about our play about that game? I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
I mean, it just means that Arizona State isn't like this super physically imposing team. They're not like in Arizona who we just won't be able to drive the rim at, or we're going to get dominated on the offensive glass. Frankly, Iowa State's just a better team, and they're good at forcing turnovers, and Arizona State is a little bit more prone to giving the ball away. So
if you're wondering how they fared against Arizona and the Houston schools, not a ton of turnovers. Houston forced 17, which is a lot. They've played 2 games against Arizona, Keen Dog. They were out rebounded by 26 boards between those two. I mean, just murdered on the glass. Like Arizona just assaulted them. And so I actually found that really interesting. They out rebounded us as well, but I don't think they like that level of physicality. They don't.
Well, it's not our forte to crash the glass, but we've shown that we can do it a little bit if we need to. So, but speaking of dead cat bounces, so let's go ahead and let's go to Wikipedia and talk about what the dead cat bounce is real quick. How about that?
Yeah. While you're doing that, Steve says that was impressive analysis. Bloom and Pence have 5 minutes to respond. No, 20. They have 24 hours to respond. No, trust me. I'm kind of a numbers looker. I'm not looking at the advanced metrics. I'm just telling you what my eyes see when I look through what their trends have been over the years.
So in finance, the dead cat bounce is a small, brief recovery in the price of a declining asset. So that derived from the idea that even a dead cat will bounce if it falls from a great height.
It's a good point.
And as we look at
that, now I'm picturing that in my head, and I wish I wasn't.
Yeah. So Iowa State's hypothetical matchup, if we beat Arizona State, is Texas Tech, who in the immediate aftermath of JT Toppin getting injured, came to Hilton Coliseum and played really well. I know they played a game before that. And then what happened to Texas Tech last week? They lost at home to TCU, and then they went out to BYU and lost, which is respectable, but they've lost a couple games in a row. And are they starting to hit that decline again? Did they get the momentary bump where the team rallied together after their best player got hurt? And now it's starting to get real again for them, that they don't have one of the best players in the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple with them. They have to go crazy, insane, nuclear to win games. That's it.
And we saw them do it in Hilton, but
they did it in Hilton, right?
I mean, they shot the three really well in that BYU game, and it still wasn't enough. So
no, they had more turnovers. They had more turnovers. This is their reality, right? With and they did not force many against Iowa State. We did not play well. We were against Tech. We were seemingly always behind. We were late on everything, right? We did not get after them the way that we should have. The little spurt we did, Keeney, in the second half got them back into that game, got it to 6 points, but they shot 46 and 47% from the floor in 3, respectively, against BYU. They made it to the line 8 times is all. They had 14 turnovers, and they got beat on the boards. That's just the reality, man. They're not going to drive it a ton because they don't have the size. They're not going to get a bunch of rebounds. They don't have the size. So again, when you do all that, for a 46% from 3 night, Keeney, they made 16 threes in that game. 16, and it still wasn't enough. They got beat. And BYU, for that matter, only made 6 threes. They shot 24%. Had a pretty bad shooting night. So
Christian Anderson had 23 points, 8 of 19 shooting.
Yep.
There's just so much on his plate right now, and he will have had close to a week to get rested up to play this game, but it's really going to
Yeah.
come down to how effectively is he, because he's going to be Super Bowl dominant. He's going to be using a lot of possessions. Is he shooting the ball and is he
Right.
distributing the ball effectively? And if Iowa State can contain him a little bit, I mean, it's a really good opportunity for Iowa State to pick up a win. I think we need a win over a tournament team. We haven't beaten a team that's going to be in the tournament since we played Houston at home a few weeks ago. Like that's I think the thing I want to see most out of the Big 12 tournament is just, can Iowa State win a game on a neutral floor against a good team and kind of prove to themselves and maybe build that confidence up again. Like, yeah, we can compete with anybody.
I agree. And like to kind of close the loop on Tech, right? They lost at home to TCU right after they played us as well. Austin, it's the same stat line. They both shot within a 2% of each other from three and from the field, 47 and 35, 45 and 34. They got murdered on the glass, out rebounded by 14 boards, committed 15 turnovers, and got to the line. What did they get the line the last time? 8 times. Same thing in this game, right? That's the recipe for them. It's they're sand's topping. They can't board. They're not going to attack the paint a ton. And it takes shooting. Well, they shoot from three, 58% and 60% from the floor to beat Iowa State. Austin, Iowa State's game plan was, so they weren't making threes, but late in that game, not late in the game, actually, more of the mid stretch, they aggressively and relentlessly attacked and got to the rim and shot a lot of free throws. I think that's going to be the move. They're quick, but Petty is smaller. Anderson's smaller. Their guards are a little smaller. So I'm assuming that's going to be the game plan once again, is to just try to get to the rim, get in the paint. It's going to require maybe some creativity from your bigs. But I'm sure that's got to be what the book says on Tech. I'm not a full-time scout, but since Toppin's been out, seems like it's the case. If you know they can't rebound very well and they're not very physical or big, just take them off bounds.
Matt, I apologize if I seem distracted. I am just being alerted that Bam Adebayo scored 83 points in an NBA game tonight.
Excuse me?
83
for Bam Adebayo?
I know. What? He's not even like a scorer. 83 in one game.
How is that possible?
I don't know. We're going to find out more about it later, I guess. That's crazy, man. All right.
Wow. Okay.
I don't want to get too far ahead on Iowa State, but like, this is a really favorable draw for us to ideally get a matchup with Arizona in the semifinals. Is there anything else on the other side of the bracket that you're really interested in seeing? Like, what are your, I guess, other thoughts about the tournament before we get into more fun stuff?
Gosh, I don't know. Like, how interested are you in some of these games that happened here this evening?
AJ DeBonsa could go on a heater, and BYU could maybe make a little bit of a run. Like, he's going to be the best player on the glass court the whole time. Maybe the glass court is just what they needed to unlock themselves.
I'm intrigued in TCU on the bottom side. I am convinced that team is better than people think. I really do. They've got size. They can defend a little bit. They're not great offensively, but I think they're better than people think. And is Kansas is either vulnerable or they're going to get by Houston and make the title game. That's the only way that happens. So I, believe it or not, I have a pretty high opinion of the Horned Frogs, and
they're playing great. They're
19th in defensive efficiency and 93rd offensively. So the offense isn't stellar, but top 20 defense ain't nothing, right? Like, that's
everybody else on the bubble has lost game after game, and TCU has just kept on winning. Like, they have 100% played themselves into the tournament.
I don't know that you would want to. I know that you'd be thrilled about seeing them. Again, folks, they have beaten Florida and Wisconsin. So I know Florida was not what they are now because they're a total wagon, seemingly. But again, it's a team that you got to watch out for. I think
for me, it's just AJ, and then I guess Darren Peterson. Like, now that it's the postseason, are we going to see anything different from him? Is he going to be fully engaged? Is Kansas going to be able to go up a level because they have the best player on the floor, and he
Did bringing him off the
100%,
bench,
and he's gone.
yeah, did bringing him off the bench change his mindset at all? Does he lock in, as the kids say, right? He's going to lock in now that it's postseason.
And I guess, like I said, I want to see what AJ does tomorrow. Like, can AJ DeBonsa just go nuts for like 4 days, and all of a sudden BYU's in the title game because he's averaging 40 a game to get there?
And you can't guard him. Yeah. And Darren Peters can do something similar, man. He's so smooth when he is on and healthy. In the last game of the year, he looked fantastic, probably as good as he's looked all season. So we'll be very curious to see what Kansas does down there. But that matchup with TCU will not be fun, I don't think.
When are you heading down there, Matt?
It's TBD. Kind of, it really depends on tomorrow. Hoping that they win tomorrow and can get down there early Thursday morning. It gets complicated to leave midweek with young kids, and playing Thursday kind of threw a wrench into that, so to speak. So we're going to be watching intently tomorrow, Keeney. So hopefully I can get there live on the scene here later in the week.
Are you excited about seeing the glass court in person? I feel like we got to talk about the court for a minute.
I don't know. I don't know about the glass court, man. Like, there are times on TV I'm like, okay, that looks pretty cool. I feel like it has like insane capabilities, and we're using like the dumbest designs. But we could do so much more than what we're doing with this court. So I'm hoping that, like, as they get through each round, they just make it like a little bit better. But like, why did we go back to the Big 12 design they started the women's tournament with? Like, we roasted you on the internet. Fix it. We've been bullying you for a week now. Make it better.
The more I've seen it, the more it's just obvious this thing. I mean, it doesn't translate to TV like at all. It looks like the wrong color. It makes the lighting in the arena look terrible. You know, you can see the grid lines everywhere. Everybody's talking about this, but like,
I know
the thing just doesn't. It looks like pretty amateur stuff.
I hope they got paid like $4 or $5 million for putting that thing in.
Well, and then you especially get into, like, I saw, like, I know Jake Brend was down there today talking to the team, and I think it might have been after their shoot around, because there were comments about, like, yeah, you know, it's got a little bit of bounce to it, and it might be a little bit slipperier than a normal court. And if that's going to happen, that's a huge problem. You can't have the surface not playing like it's supposed to. Like, I don't know. The first time somebody rolls an ankle on the thing, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they decide to. I think it
was Addie Brown on Twitter who said it was a little slippery, but like, I have not seen players slipping or falling in the games I've watched. So maybe it is. Maybe it needs to get scuffed in a little bit, right? Maybe it'll be a little worn in by now.
Well, or could we just make it look like a basketball court that does cool things?
That'd be sweet. Well, what they did for the title game was really cool. I like that.
The gray on TV, like I said, it just doesn't translate to TV. It looks really bad when you're watching a game on TV.
It's glass. Can't we make it look like a parquet floor? Come on, let's do that.
Yeah, anything's better than the gray with the Roman numerals. Anyway, should we? I mean, do you have anything else on Iowa State Big 12 tournament, or do you want to look at some of the other tournaments now that are be happening this week?
Hold on.
I know what I wanted to do.
I wanted to circle back. Did you see Bam Adebayo's free throw numbers tonight?
What were they?
36 of 43. Can you imagine the whistle? How was anybody left in the game?
43 free throws?
That's what it looks like.
In one game?
No, that can't be. That can't be right.
The NBA, man. I tell you what,
that can't be right. No, that's right. He did 43 free throw attempts. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander approves.
The NBA is. I don't know. That's a joke. I mean, congrats to Bam. I guess that's cool for him. But if you're shooting 43 free throws in one basketball game, one player shooting that many, that's just outrageous.
What are we doing? What are we doing here, man? Okay, sorry. Sidetrack.
Yeah. All right. Before we get off Kansas City, though, Matt, I do feel like we should talk about just what are the best things for fans to do in Kansas City. You've been down a bunch of times. I've been down a few times. Like, what's your insider tips? What is Matt Nelson's guide to a great time in Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament?
Do you know who DJ Diesel is?
Is he? He's not coming this year though, is he?
No, but can you enlighten the people,
It's
the good people?
it's Shaq. I mean, it's Shaquille O'Neal. Is he does? I guess he's a DJ.
You guess
Well,
he's
he
not.
did. Okay, he did shows at the Big 12 tournament the last couple years, but he's not coming this year.
He's DJ Diesel. Yeah, they are having. Who is it that's playing on Sunday? I'm trying to remember who it is. They all or Saturday. They always have somebody come and play Saturday, and I saw this. So that's always funny. Funny to attend. Okay, so a couple things we like to do. The Boulevard tour is great. It's just down from the arena a bit. If you can do like a more in-depth one, and they just try to get you drunk on that tour. They will ply you with beers. It's really fun. We actually went and took the kids through it. It was really enjoyable. So if you like beer, Boulevard tour. We went when it was a lot younger, and I've never
they
been.
try and
Oh, go
get
ahead.
you drunk. I went with my kids. That's funny.
We did. It's true. That's right. We didn't know. I mean, no one tells you these things. On a very hungover day back in like 2016, when I was a lot younger than I am now, we went to the World War I Museum, which is down by Union Station. Not great when you're like attached claustrophobic and a little hungover, but really enjoyable. If you like history at all, it is sweet. They had like an immersive display in there when we were there at the time, and really enjoyed that. It's the big I don't know what you want to call it, obelisk that you kind of see on the hill. You've seen a lot of the shots. That is very much worth going to see. So I would encourage you to do that. Another fun spot we like to go to. So Cosentino's Market is great. The River Market area is nice too. So you can take the little North Loop trolley. You can actually get on at the Power and Light and take it basically north. It just kind of runs back and forth. The River Market has a lot of really good coffee places, restaurants. There's a couple of fun little dive bars. There's actually a really nice antique store down there that my wife and I have purchased some stuff at. There's a brewery in that area as well. I can't remember which one it is. That is a really cool part of town. So it'd basically be just north of Cosentino's Market, kind of right near the river, straight north of the downtown area. Especially since I want to say that hop on, hop off trolley is either free or it costs like $1. It's super cheap. So I'll always enjoy that. He says good pizza place. I think I know exactly which pizza place that is, Steve. We have eaten there before. Really good wood-fired pizza. A couple of things we like to do. If you want to get out of the Power and Light, there's a lot of fun bars around just south. Parlor, the Green Lady Lounge. There's an Up Down in the area, I believe, or like last time I remember there was. So that is a bar owned by some Iowa Staters. Yeah, still open now. It's an arcade bar. They have great pizza. There's one in the East Village. There's one up in Minneapolis. I think there's one in St. Louis now, actually. We've gone there before because it's a great way to kill some time and have a few beers. We've always really enjoyed that one. You could also venture way out west to where the new Chiefs Stadium is going to be built. There's all kinds of stuff to do out there. Can you by where the soccer stadium is? There's I think there's like a Topgolf in the area. There's like a Bass Pro, a bunch of stuff out there. Dave and Buster's, we've done that before. Very fun. If you're looking for some time to kill, go hit up D&B's. One of the things we like to do, Austin, is the food scene in Kansas City is great. There's a lot of really, really good brunch places. A lot, right? And if you've got time on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning, that's one thing we always look forward to when we go down there. But obviously barbecue is big in Kansas City. So Joe's is probably one of the most popular one. The original one, I think, is in an old gas station. I've actually never been to it. I like Arthur Bryant's, which is they're usually a little older and a little sometimes located in sketchier parts of town. Burn Ends are great there. It's kind of more of a throwback type place. Q39 is great. What's the Jack Stack? There's that's not my favorite. It's a little too fancy for me. We're probably going to spend a good amount of time as well down in Westport. So if you're looking for a place to gather, there's really two options: Power and Light, where kind of everyone is, and then Westport is south a couple miles. There's a ton of stuff to do there. A lot of really good restaurants. That's where Kelly's is, the Irish pub that you hear a ton about. Iowa State has always kind of done their pep rallies there. They get out kind of specific mugs for this game because usually it's kind of around St. Patrick's Day time, and it's a big deal over there in Westport. Kelly's is a great bar. We really like the Char Bars down there, which has really good food as well. So Westport is honestly a great place to stay. Trying to think of anything else. If you've got kids, the Crown Centers is fun. There's some cool little kid stores in there. There's always been a Legoland in there. There's a restaurant where they like bring your food on a little train and it comes down to the table. So if you've got young kids, we usually try to go get something there just because they seem to enjoy it. So that's probably a lot more than you bargained for.
I was gonna say the college basketball experience is going to be really popular this week, but it's just right down the street from the arena too. Kind of a cool thing to go through. Maybe this isn't the best week to do it. Matt, you listed off a bunch of barbecue places, and somehow you didn't hit the one that I like the most, which is called Slaps.
I've actually never been to that one.
You got to try it, and it's just right on the other side of, like, you just cross over to Kansas, and then it's just right there. But great barbecue there. So that's probably the most contribution I can offer there. Everybody knows about the Power and Light, but there's gonna be a lot for Iowa State fans to do there. So hopefully it's a long stay for Iowa State. As we kind of get close to wrapping things up, though, let's talk about some of the other tournaments that are going to happen this week. And last week we talked about mid majors that we were excited about. This week, the bigger conferences are all taken over. We're going to be locked in on the Big 12, but where else are you looking? Like, what's a tournament that you're looking at? Like, oh, you know what? This is a really good one. I'm going to watch a bunch of this one if I can.
I don't know. I think for rooting interest, you've got to pay attention to the Big Ten tournament, and I don't
100%.
like to give them much love.
You're not watching because you like really enjoy Big Ten basketball. You got to see what Michigan State and Illinois are doing.
You've got ample hate watch opportunities in Iowa, Illinois, and Michigan State. All teams that you can very happily root against to lose. Heck, throw Purdue in there too. You would like to keep them a 4 seed because it probably keeps Iowa State in St. Louis. So a lot of hate watch opportunities popping up there. And it's kind of bounce around. I'm curious what you think on the ACC. Just one team to keep your eye on, Keeney, in the Big Ten is Wisconsin. They have some really good wins. They have some really confusing losses, but they can score.
I think Wisconsin. Yeah.
That to me, they scream Sweet 16 team that is probably not on people's radar today. And
they're not your older brothers, Wisconsin. They're not winning games in the 50s anymore. I mean, they're
like a top 25 KenPom team, Keeney. I want to say they're 54th on defense, so not great, but they're top 15 offense essentially.
Yeah, they're either going to lose to a 12 seed in the first round or they're going to go to the Elite Eight. Like, they're just, if they're hot, and they can beat anybody. They've kind of proven it. They won at Michigan. They won at Purdue last weekend. They won at Illinois. They got some awesome wins, but I feel like their floor is pretty low if the shots aren't going down.
Yeah, they're kind of like, I don't know, maybe a little like Texas Tech in that regard. And, I think a lot of people are going to, they had a 14-point loss to Oregon. That was kind of nasty business. 15-pointer to Ohio State, who's not great. But just in the last month, they've won at Illinois, at Purdue, and beat Michigan State at home. And Iowa. Beat Iowa at home as well. Beat Iowa by 13. They also won at Michigan back in January, which now looks even more incredible in hindsight. So they beat Wisconsin at home. They beat UCLA at home. They have actual good wins. I think it's really tempting. If you look in KenPom, they're one spot ahead of Iowa, and the metrics have loved Iowa all season. Wisconsin is 23rd in the metrics with actual good wins.
Yeah, Matt, I was just
Iowa's best win is what? Nebraska at home and then at Ohio State and at Indiana. And those two teams are not guaranteed to make the tournament. Kenny, that's it. Those are the only good wins they have.
I was alerted to something really interesting about Iowa today.
What's that?
Did you know that the Iowa team that the consensus all year from everyone who covers the team is, oh, this team wasn't supposed to be any good. This team is severely undermanned, which is kind of true. First year head coach, all these Drake guys coming in. Did you know they were picked 8th in the preseason in the Big Ten and they finished 9th?
So it doesn't quite fit the narrative of, oh, they weren't supposed to be good at all.
Right. They
fair.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that Ben McCollum underachieved this year?
Underachieved. I love that. Okay, a few other things in the ACC tournament. If you like,
I think the ACC is a pile of crap, by the way.
If you like, oh, it is. If you like bubble teams, I mean, there is a mountain of ACC teams literally just fighting for their life in this tournament. Louisville's best player is now out of the tournament. So if you have gambling or rooting interest against SMU tomorrow, take note of that. SMU is like a play-in type team. NC State is, I can't remember where they're at, Kenny. If you've got Lenardi's latest bracketology, you could pull it up. But that league is wild. There is a bunch of trash. North Carolina's best player is out. Duke is a wagon. Kenny, I hate to say it, I actually really like Virginia. I really like Virginia too. I think Virginia is another sleeper of mine. They are 16th
bracket
on
matrix,
defense,
by the way,
and
says
33 on
NC
offense.
State is a 10 seed right now.
Okay, so they're safely in. But I'm not going to say I don't even know how safe that feels. The bubble is as bad as it's ever been. It is horrible. There's nothing to watch in that tournament, but I would turn into that one more for the chance of, if you, Keeney, I'm big on, you want to pick your bracket, pay attention to the conference tournaments. So in general, there can sometimes be a penalty for winning the title game and going all that late. Usually the biggest penalty is getting beat early in the week. Teams that do poorly early on in the tournament don't have a terrific track record. So like, when I say that, right, I'm not talking about even really at where Iowa State's at. Like, I'm not talking about a team that finished like 6th, 7th. I'm talking about a team that is like a top 3 seed. There was a year, Keeney, I want to say it was 16, Kansas lost to TCU in the semis. And that team struggled in the tournament. Like, you need to be watching like a Purdue losing on Wednesday or Thursday of their tournament, bad sign. I would stay away from that team in March. You're probably already thinking about staying away from them anyway. UConn losing really early in the Big East tournament, Keeney, would be a bad sign. Like, so if you're trying to differentiate between clearly Michigan and Duke and Florida and Arizona, they're way up there, but some of these other teams, I always like to pay attention to it. So Virginia's on my list. I like them, but if they lose in their first game in this tournament, I'm not going to feel very confident in them. So,
Big East tournament, right idea, Keeney, by the way.
East,
the Big East sucks.
Garbage.
I mean,
garbage.
Don't watch it
unless you want to hate watch UConn, right? To see if Hurley. Honestly, UConn losing a bad one in that one, they're picked ahead in front of us too. Like, you're rooting for anybody just ahead of you or just behind you to lose. So UConn would fit that bill. So
the Hurley double box technical on Saturday was so funny. I couldn't believe that really happened.
The Hurley cam, great TV production work.
We'll get to some of the other big ones, I guess. But Steve Kemp does say you got to watch the MAC. You got to see what's going to happen with Miami, Ohio. Got to see if they win that first game, and then in that hypothetical matchup, if they were to play Akron in the championship game, Akron, you need to prepare yourself now. Akron's going to be favored by like 6 points.
They will be
on a neutral floor against Miami, Ohio.
You could have a
comment here. Texas Tech, this is from Jan on Facebook, says Texas Tech is way underrated. A little interested in that theory there, just because, like, look, I know they won in Hilton, but them in Wisconsin, I think, are very much on the same level of this team. If they lose to a 14 seed, I wouldn't be shocked. And if they go to the Elite 8, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, they're very, very similar. They've got a weird, kind of an odd resume, and you definitely do not like how they closed the season. An 8-point home loss to TCU, and then yes, they lost at BYU just like we did. But can we hit the SEC? Can we hit the SEC really quick? Ooh, what do we have here?
Yeah, Rickles Don, Rickles Don 6969 here with the comment. Does it feel like conference tournaments mean less now than ever, or is it just a bad taste of beating Houston and not moving up?
I think it's a bad taste, Don, because a lot of with UConn's loss, a lot of the prognosticator type people are, from from what I'm picking up, listening to other podcasts, is that they view a potential like Houston having a shot to play themselves up to be at 1 seed. I would say it's probably open for another school from the Big Ten. Duke and Michigan are and I would say Arizona are locked and loaded. Nothing's going to happen to those teams that's not going to make them a 1 seed. But who you throw into that last one, right? Like, who is it today? Your teams in that arena basically are UConn, Michigan State, Illinois, Houston, and who am I missing? Florida. Right now, Florida is kind of put in that spot, but Florida's got some wonky losses too. They're absolutely on fire right now. They've not lost since late January.
Florida's got the inside track to the 1 now. They're playing so well.
They do, but if Michigan State or
I have a hard time seeing anybody that's not UConn or Florida getting a 1, to be honest.
I think, but UConn, the only way they could get one is the only win of value is St. John's, because they're not going to play
if they
win
team and Florida drops out early, because Florida, I mean, UConn beat Florida in the non-conference, so they'll have that.
That's true. They have the head-to-head.
They have that head-to-head.
But there is some intrigue in watching these for that matter. The SEC tournament's a mess. What a joke.
Yeah, I think to answer the question for me, it's also just a bad taste from not benefiting from that Houston win, because if you remember in the immediate aftermath of that, it was like, whoa, did Iowa State just take the 4th 1 seed and then we were like the 4th 2 seed? I think in general the conference tournaments have value this season for sure, because the margins are really thin. Like Matt, like you just talked about, like us, Michigan State, Illinois, one of those teams is going to be a 3 seed and one's going to be a 2. So if one of those Big Ten teams drops early, then yeah, there should be a real opportunity if we win a couple games to move up. Like,
I would agree.
We're stacking quad 1 wins. In theory, that's how it should work. Now,
right now they have it. Michigan State 7, Illinois 8, us 9. So like we were all right in there next to each other. The SEC tournament, I just want to poke fun at a little bit.
Also a pile of crap.
Vanderbilt, who has just done nothing but lose games to close the season, is the 4 seed in that league. Behind Bama and Arkansas, 2 teams that could not stop anybody if you paid them millions of dollars, which literally they probably did because with their roster. Like, their defense is absolutely atrocious. They are both 23-8. I'm shocked that Vanderbilt has managed to stay in the top 25. Tennessee is 21-10 and they're in the top 25. What are we doing here?
That league is the epitome of like power conference crap, and like the reason that we don't need the tournament to expand. Like, if with extra at-larges, 16 and 15 Auburn would be comfortably in the field, and we just don't need that.
I'm telling you, watch out.
Society, we do not need that.
A&M, Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky, Texas are all going to get in, and they are all incredibly average.
Yeah, like, there's just a lot of mid in the SEC.
Correct.
There's one juggernaut.
Kentucky has some talent. Kentucky has some talent, but I'm telling you, like, the SEC is going to get bodied in the NCAA tournament. It will not be pretty. There's a chance Arkansas or Bama can go on a run because they can score a gajillion points. But usually got to play defense at some point. So, a couple other ones I'm really interested in. I love the A10. I'm always in on the A10.
The A10 has a lot of, I mean, it's actually really compelling this year. I got to be honest. Because St. Louis is faltering. VCU is a bubble team. And that league is ripe for somebody to knock off St. Louis and win the whole thing and steal a bid.
Dayton's feisty. George Mason's feisty. VCU right now would be probably like a play-in game. So they should be a 2-bid league. But if someone beats St. Louis early and VCU plays well, makes the I mean, you could have a 3-bid A10 potentially, right? If someone knocks off St. Louis and beats VCU like in the title game, VCU would have probably done enough to still make it in. Because again, the rest of the bubble is soft. So I think that league is going to be really, really interesting. We hit the MAC already. Shout out to Miami of Ohio. That game against Ohio was electric. I love all of the.
I mean, he played a great game and tough break there at the end of regulation.
Keenan, we might have to wrap up so we can go watch the end of this Santa Clara Gonzaga game. Knotted at 52. Santa Clara should be in, by the way. They're kind of right on the line.
I think they're going to get in. I think beating St. Mary's did that for them. One last thing that we do need to throw out, and this has nothing to do with the basketball on the floor, but are you following what's going on with the WAC? right now?
The whack in Vegas? No.
So the so Utah Valley is the regular season champ in the WAC. They're also leaving the conference, and there is a dispute between Utah Valley and the conference over exit fees. And the conference is basically saying, you're not going to participate in our tournament if you don't pay our exit fee. And so there's a whole lot of back and forth going on right now. There's potentially the best team in that league that's not even going to get to play in the conference tournament. Like,
Wow.
college basketball, man, it's unmatched. But some drama to follow there. I mean, it might be dated by the time this is done recording, but like that was a big story earlier today where they were saying, no, Utah Valley, you're not playing in our tournament because you didn't pay us $1 million by this deadline because you're leaving our conference. So crazy story there. So
Wild.
if they're allowed to play, you should maybe watch the championship game if they get there, just to see what happens if they win. And if they're not allowed to play, I don't even know. I guess it's not as worth watching, but just a crazy story, man. Um, yeah, we gotta finish watching Gonzaga Santa Clara. Matt, I mean, we've been through a lot in the last hour and 6 minutes, but is there anything else that that you want to make sure we talk about?
I think we covered it. It's gonna be a great week. I love this week. I don't know if I can go as far as saying it's better than the first round, Keeney. It is fun because it's always chaotic. I do enjoy watching teams get a chance to make a run through a tournament. I can remember two, Keeney, that stick out. Oregon State with Wayne Tinkle. Shout out Wayne Tinkle. He is leaving Oregon State after a long career. Probably end up coaching somewhere else at a smaller level. And then Virginia Tech. So I think Oregon State, that was an Elite Eight run, Keeney. I want to say Virginia Tech was a Sweet 16, maybe also an Elite Eight. And those are two like 19, 20-ish win teams that just caught fire during their conference tournament and ended up making a really good run in March. And I'm always here for that, for schools that would not have been in otherwise. So I really do enjoy this week. I watched a lot of hoops today in the office here tonight, and I'm going to soak it in.
Sounds good, man. Whether you're in Kansas City or not, I mean, it's a great week to watch basketball. So, with that said, let's wrap up the pod.
Yep.
Let's win some games in Kansas
That's right.
City,
Eat some barbecue.
eat some barbecue, and oh, I don't.
Have a, I don't know, $14 Miller Lite or whatever they charge now at the Power and Light. Can't wait.
Yep, I was gonna hit us with a nice closing video, but we don't have that right now. So more to come. Hey, tech advances. At least my conversation, my laptop didn't die tonight. So thank you to the chat. Thank you all that watched this.
Yep.
And let's
Thank
go,
you to
let's
the
go win some basketball games.
Thanks to the stats and info department here at CF After Dark. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, just follow everything else on CF After Dark. It's gonna be a great week of content for us, and just a lot going on in Iowa State world. So thank you guys.
Let's go win some games, Kenny.